And welcome back to Greater Jackson Business Beat. We're sitting in the offices of Chinn and Associates in Jackson, and we're joined with Mr. Mark Chinn, who is a noted family attorney in Mississippi, and also Mark, an entrepreneur, author. You're a man of many hats. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You and I have talked a lot in the past. I've done some articles on you. It's been a pleasure to follow your career. Some of the viewers of the show, Mark, may think of a family attorney as just someone who handles a divorce. It's actually much more than that. Would you explain what family law encompasses, what it entails, what your job is?
Somewhere along the way, someone coined the phrase family law. I suppose it's a euphemism instead of using the term divorce lawyer, which doesn't sound very good. So family law encompasses a lot of things. It certainly encompasses divorce, custody actions, paternity actions. It encompasses modifications of existing orders, contempt actions, which are actions brought against someone who hasn't complied with a divorce decree. It can involve guardianships and things like that, but overall it generally involves the dissolution of marriage and the issues surrounding that.
One thing that is widely known about your practice, and I found unusual, is that Mark Chinn and your associates here with Chinn and Associates try to actually counsel people. You actually try to talk people out of a divorce before you proceed with any further action, do you not?
The overall mission of our firm is to help people lead the lives that they're entitled to lead. And I regard my job as being one of creating options for my clients so they can lead an empowered life. So when someone comes to me and someone else maybe has their foot on their neck a little bit and got them boxed in, I regard it as my mission to look for ways to level the playing field, give them options, and show them ways to have the kind of life that they want to have. There certainly are occasions when someone comes to me, perhaps a young professional comes to me and he says he's having an affair with an associate in his firm, but he's got a perfectly good family life. I'll often say, stop that and return to your marriage. There are certainly times when someone comes to me and they think they're in a situation where they should be looking at divorce, and I counsel them to look for ways to rebuild their marriage. And I've studied rebuilding marriages, and I counsel people in that every day.
It's interesting, though, because in this day and age where you can see ads that say, for a quick and easy divorce, call, and some of these ads are run by professional lawyers, you actually do suggest reconciliation as an option.
When it's appropriate.
Yeah.
I don't suggest reconciliation in every case or even in most cases, but I really like to ask people to take a careful look at what they're doing with their lives, because divorce is a very painful and destructive process, and many times for years to come. And we also know that divorce impacts children in very significant ways, and so any option should be explored before divorce.
Mark, you've been a family attorney now for how many years?
32 years.
And you've developed a reputation. You might be too modest to say it, but I think those of us who keep up with business know of your reputation. What's the difference? Why do you think Chinn and Associates has that reputation among or out there in the public eye?
Well, I actually some years ago interviewed people who sent me business and said, why do you send me business? And the answer they gave was simply, we know you'll take care of it. So often people who are given opportunities to work for people don't really buckle down and take care of the person and the work. And I saw the word take care of it as having a couple of meanings to it. It meant, number one, that I was going to handle the case promptly and diligently, but I was also going to do it with a level of care. So we strive very hard in our firm to make people feel comfortable given their circumstances. I've had many clients say, the only place I feel comfortable right now is when I sit in your waiting room.
Yeah.
And so we try to create a place of safety, a safe haven for people who are going through the worst time of their lives. We try to do it in everything we do here at the firm. Everything that is in this firm is designed to make people feel comfortable, protected, and well taken care of, right down to the colors of the walls.
And I feel comfortable giving this interview right now. But you know, and I mentioned you're known throughout the state. You're known throughout the country. I mean, you've achieved national recognition. You've authored books. Talk a little bit about some of the recognition and accolades you've garnered, and about the books you've published.
About 15 years ago, as I was sitting in my office here in Jackson, Mississippi, practicing all by myself, I asked myself, how do you know, Chinn, that you're delivering a first-class product sitting here all by yourself in Jackson, Mississippi? And I made a commitment to join the American Bar Association. And then I made a commitment to make every one of the meetings. So 3 times a year, I would travel to some place in the United States and Canada and even in Ireland for a meeting of the family law section of the American Bar Association. That allowed me to associate over the course of 4 or 5 days with lawyers from all over the country and all over the world, to sit down and have coffee with them and talk about their practices and talk about how they do things. It also gave me the opportunity to learn things that I might not otherwise learn by myself without their influences. As a result of that, I began speaking at those meetings, and so I've become a presenter all over the country on issues pertaining to service or marketing or other issues of family law. So I began speaking a lot. And then through the ABA, I got the opportunity to write now 3 books. And so the third one will be published within weeks. And my first book was published about 2006, and it was directed towards the practice of family law. And so the speaking, the writing of articles, the traveling around the country has allowed me to establish a national presence.
You know, Mark, one thing that has impressed me about you and your firm, having known about your business for years, is the fact that you take a very serious and diligent and methodical approach to marketing. In fact, you've written a book on marketing. Talk about that a little bit. Is that, I know in times past people consider that a conflict of interest for an attorney to promote his or her business. You don't buy that.
The term conflict of interest is not quite an accurate description of what attorneys believe. There was a belief from a professional standpoint in the past, there was a belief that traditional advertising and traditional marketing cast a bad light on what is a dignified profession.
Beneath it, I see.
Beneath it, and that marketing should be confined to having a good body of work which people will spread the word about. And that was the fundamental thinking of the profession until the 1970s or so. The United States Supreme Court struck down rules of professional conduct which prohibited marketing by attorneys. And so as things have progressed, attorneys have taken advantage of the opportunity to market through traditional marketing channels, from billboards to television to all the forms of advertising that all other businesses use. And now you'll find that almost any law firm in the country who is not doing that is probably making a mistake. From my standpoint, I had the belief that marketing is all about creating relationships. Mm-hmm. And the only way for a person like me, starting out in my own practice in 1988, to get enough business to have a business was to create as many relationships as I could.
Final question, what's ahead for you? You've been doing this for a lot of years. I'm sure you've reached professional highs, but as I always mention, tough times and challenging times for all of us. What's ahead for Chinn and Associates?
Well, Chinn and Associates is going to keep doing what it's doing, and that is striving every day to find ways to do things that have never been done before, to ways to deliver a service that's never been thought of before, to try a lawsuit in a creative way that's never been done before. What drives me each day and what will keep me in this business until I drop is that pursuit of the thing that has not been done before, or a way of doing it that's not been thought of before, and a way of serving customers in a divorce context that's never been thought of before. and that's what I'm driven by, and that's the future. And hopefully I'll continue to get better.
It's Mark Chinn of Chinn & Associates. Mark, a pleasure and an honor to
Thank you
speak
very
with
much,
you.
Jack.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.